Ooh, beautiful. I'm running a few new teams for Phobetor. The first team is running Zihi. It's working pretty well. And the second team is actually running Wu Yu. Look at this. This team is not too bad. It is the worst performing team out of the three, but it turns out Wu Yu is the best in slot for this team in particular. And then my elite team is obviously doing the hard carry. Broke 250 million in Phobetor, not bad. And if you've noticed, I'm not using Shen Pin on any of my teams. Main reason is because she's not R2. If she was R2, I would swap out Zihi for R2 Shen Pin, but my Shen Pin is only R0. And the stun on her second skill is just way too much for this team to handle because there's no cleanser in this team. But yeah, this video will be dedicated to Wu Yu. The reason why she works so well in this team in particular is because there's 4 defenders, right? We have Fushi, Hailey, and Sakura, and her Wu Yu herself. So 4 defenders, and also the AP that she gives whenever the allies gets attacked. That's also very massive, right? Let me just show you a few runs with this team alone. Here's the Relics. I have Fushi on the Astral set, Embla on the Thunder, Hailey on the Calamity, Wu Yu on the Thunder set, and lastly Sakura on the Harmony set. I'm just gonna do a few runs and you'll see that this team is scoring pretty well, about 40 million. The average is around 30 million plus. Wu Yu is currently the best in slot for me in this team in particular because my meta Li Ling is not at R4, and without his R4 he's not really that good. I've done a few runs, I'll show you in a bit the data. But yeah, with Wu Yu in the team you can reach like 40 million. The highest I've seen is the team reaching 45 million. And now let me show you what I would get with Shen Pin. This is my set on Shen Pin. She's on the Relief and Avatara. This team turns out to be not that good. I mean, I'm still getting like 30 million plus, but the highest is around 37 million. And it averages at around 28 million, something like that. I'm just gonna show you a few runs. See, yeah, sometimes it drops like below 5 million even because of bad RNG. But that happens to pretty much every team, right? So here's the data. I did like 60 runs on each of the team. Alright, so here's the Shen Pin variant. As you can see, the lowest is 5 million and the highest that the team scores is around 37 million. Average around 25 million. And here's the Wu Yu team. Look at this. Again, for every team you'll have really bad RNG, but even with really bad RNG you get like 7 million with the Wu Yu team. And the highest I can get is 45 million, which is pretty insane. Average at 31 million. I also tried like a few other teams as well. I tried to run the Yunchuan variant, and the Yunchuan is also working better than what I would get from Shen Pin. Here's the lowest 6.9 million, and then the highest is 40 million, which is still far lower than what I would get from Wu Yu, right? Average is 27 million. And then my meta Li Ling is let me show you real quick, because I can't be bothered to build him. He's R1. Without his R4, like I say, he's not really that good for any of the False Automaticity bosses. But once you get him to R4 is when he becomes a very good support for Embla. But without that, he's pretty weak. So yeah, here's my Li Ling. He has no skill ups and he has no divinate. He has no resonance as well. R1 gives him a lot of stats, but it's not enough to outshine Meta Yunchuan or my Wu Yu in this case. Yeah, I did 60 runs with Meta Li Ling as well. Lowest is 6.8 million and the highest is only 32 million. It's the worst performing team out of the variant of Espers that I could run, but that's again mostly because my Meta Li Ling is not built. If I had him at maybe D6 and fully skilled up, this average would probably be similar to Meta Yunchuan or the Shen Pin one. It's not going to be at the level of Wu Yu though, because Wu Yu is just so good in this team. I also tried to run Wu Yu but Fushi on the Thor set. It didn't really work out too well. It's a lot worse compared to running Fushi on the Astral set. As you can see, the average dropped by 2 million. Before I show you the run, here's the rest of my relics. Your run will be on the Relief and Avatara. Sloan, I'm going for R6 Sloan because R6 does make a pretty big difference. You'll start off with the Eidetic buff, so you don't waste turns, because Chu Yao and Liam will take the turn and call in Sloan for assist, right? And since mine isn't R6, she doesn't do the additional attack, so the first couple of turns my Sloan doesn't really do damage. And Zihi will be on the Ocean set, just a lot of speed, and the 2P set just go for full speed. You don't really need any set in particular. Here's my Elite team. I'm using Calamity set on her because there's a lot of debuffs for this team. Lu Sheng will be on the Astral set. Yujing will be on the Relief set instead of Astral. I don't know why, it works better that way. Mateo on Astral set with a lot of speed and counter attack as well. And then lastly, Feng Shun will be on the Harmony set and Avatara. Alright, for Team 1, again, I decided not to use my Shen Pin because she's not R2. If you have Shen Pin at R2, you definitely want to run her here and remove your Zihi. But without R2 Shen Pin, the team is just not consistent. The stun that she provides from her S2 is just way too much for you to handle, right? If she lands the stun on your Uran and you don't land a sleep debuff on the boss, you just might get one-shotted by the boss. But if you were to run Zihi, she will reduce the boss's damage by 50% if you can stack it up to 5 times, which means you can survive better. So as you can see right here, if you fail to land a sleep or disease debuff on the boss, and usually the first hit will kill off maybe 1 or 2 of your units, but with Z in the team, reducing the boss's damage, you can survive better. Okay, so right here the boss got golden rim buff, but I failed to sleep the boss. So look at that, I'm almost dead, but thanks to Zihi, I was able to survive the nuke from the boss. Alright, Team 2. With this team, you really just want to land the disease debuff on Embla, because if you don't land the disease debuff, the boss gets the golden rim buff, you're not doing a lot of damage. You have like reduced damage, whereas if you were to land the disease debuff, you have like increased damage, if I'm not mistaken. The purpose of Wu Yu right here is not just to provide me with damage when she counter attacks, but also provide the AP up for my defender Espers. The more turns my Fushi takes, the more pursuits my Embla does, right? So the more chances for me to land the disease debuff, and more damage in general as well, because when Fushi takes a turn, he's gonna be calling Embla for assist, right? So that's more damage in the long run. And also, Wu Yu is providing all of this support, all the while taking 0 turns. Every other support in the game would have to support the team by taking a turn, right? Either providing buffs, using their skills or something. But Wu Yu just needs to exist in the battlefield, and she does her counter attacks, doing 4 million in total by taking 0 turns. So she's not reducing your turn count, which means your other allies can take a bunch of turns. So I think that's the reason why she also works very well in here. Providing all of the supports and taking 0 turns is pretty massive. And Phobetor also has like 2 AoE attacks, so it's very good, right? His S3 does an AoE attack. His S2 is also an AoE attack. He only has 1 single target attack, which is his S1. If you have R4 Wu Yu, then this is definitely going to be way better, because now you need the enemies to do 2 AoE attacks instead of 3, right? Because right now my Wu Yu is R1, so she needs 10 stacks of the buff. So if the boss does an AoE twice, I only get 8 stacks. I need the boss to attack me 1 more time with an AoE for me to do the retaliation. But yeah, that's about it. Again, I'm not running Shen Pin because she's not R2. If she was R2, I would switch her out with my Zihi. But Shen Pin doesn't need to be R2 if you're running her in this team in particular, because you have Sakura to cleanse the stuns, right? You have the Vigor stack to become immune to stuns. But like I've tested, Shen Pin isn't really that good for this team in particular. Wu Yu just turns out to be way better than her. I think the maximum score I can get with my Phobetor setup is around 280, 290 million if I get the absolute perfect RNG, because my team 1 can score about 50 million with the perfect RNG, and then team 2 can score about 45 million, and then my team 3 can score 190 million with the perfect RNG. So that's around 50, 95 plus 190, that's 285 million. I think that's my maximum with the most perfect RNG possible. But I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. This is the one rare scenario that Wu Yu is much better than Shen Pin in PvE, right? But yeah, that's about it. Ciao.